what is that? Hey, so the new Predator movie just came out, dropped on Hulu, called Prey, and it's so good to finally get like a really good fucking Predator movie since like the first one and a little bit of the second one. Words and phrases. Yeah, so this one takes place, it's like prequel, it takes place 300 years before like the first time we saw them, with Schwarzenegger and all that stuff. And it's very interesting because it lands, like, obviously, here in places. And, it's like, like an indigenous, like, group of people, especially the one woman who, you've seen her on, like, the Legion show and all that shit. She did great. And it's like I really enjoyed it. I really had a lot of fun watching it. I don't know how much spoilers this is because it is like a Predator movie, and you kind of have an idea how a Predator movie goes because it's been so many. It's like being like, hey, this is another Alien movie. I wonder what happens. So I guess I'll go into spoilers. Like I said, I really I enjoyed this movie a lot because the other, for like, what was it, the Adrian Brody Predator, and then the other Predator movie, what was it, like Predator and then Predators, or whatever, whichever ones that I were just like, it's like a bunch of dudes, and I think what was like, the last one was like, it's a bunch of dudes, and I think it was like Olivia Munn, it's like, and one lady, we're gonna fight the yeah, this one is like, this is 300 years ago, it's 1700 something, and there's a lady, and she's fighting him with an axe, But anyway, I guess I'll go into spoilers. 1, 2, 3 spoilers. Clappy clap spoilers. How do I do this again? I don't remember. I haven't done the marquee thing in forever. That thing's on the floor. Yeah. So like I said, the indigenous woman, she's just kind of like, she's like the young one. All the other like young dudes are kind of like giving her grief, like you do. The older people that are like with her, that are part of like the family tribe or whatever you want to call it, are just kind of like, well, things are happening. They're like, we're just here as background, She has a dog, which is great, and there were a few times where I had slight panic, where I thought something was gonna happen to the dog, because there's one part in the movie where like they walk and then you hear a bear trap and it catches a little bit on the dog's tail, and you hear that, and I was like, no, I'm like trying to eat, enjoy my veggie nuggets, and I was like, no, don't hurt the dog, don't hurt the dog, like, and they don't, the dog is fine, and this entire movie, this dog is fine, is alive, thank God, because I'd be quite upset, although a bear dies, and a wolf dies, so I couldn't, win it all, but also at the same time, the main animal that we see all the time is alive. So anyway, yeah, so I like how like the girl of course is smarter than the guys. It's very much like the alien thing where Ripley was like, well, she had this great idea, no one wanted to listen to her, kind of thing. She's like, hey, what animal tracks are these? Like some animals on their hind legs, and they're like, anyway, it's a bear, and they're like, well, bears could go on their hind legs, and she's like, well, these tracks seem different, and I like that what do you call that? The words I'm looking for. The I guess the tech, the CGI to make the Predator look invisible isn't that much different than like even from the first movie. Yeah, it's a little bit improved, but it's not trying to be like, look how super invisible it is. They're like, no, it's okay if it, does that thing. I mean, because that's the whole point. The design of I forgot how you pronounce it, starts with a Y, but the Predator beast, the yacht, you can see how it's like they've de-evolved it to how it's used to be. It's still got the shit going on, it wore like the fucking wolf skull on its head as like a thing, like because I guess it doesn't have the metal plate, so it's like, we're gonna put the wolf skull on here, or it does, and then it was just doing that because other people had like animals on their heads and stuff. But anyway, yeah, so it was the movie very much is like not a lot of like the action doesn't really happen till like later in the movie, which is great because again, it's kind of like with the first um, a Predator movie, where the first Predator movie just looks like, okay, it's an army movie, it's action, guns a-blazing kind of movie, and then just like, because it's called Predator, you're like, okay, so, okay, guns a-blazing, all that stuff. And suddenly it's like, becomes like sci-fi, you're like, what the fuck? I remember just how, like, when I was little, seeing that, I was just like, kind of surprised by it. I was like, okay, it's gonna be a movie again, guns a-blazing, and then you're like, what is this? Oh my god! Like, I was just like, so confuzzulated. It's kind of like, again, when you watch like Alien, and you're like, okay, this is gonna be just like, I know it's called Alien, but like, you're like, okay, it's like a, you know, they're out in space and da da da, and then it's like the alien also is just like, ah, you know, like, it's that whole like, holy shit, I didn't think this would happen. Although obviously this one, you know what franchise it's part of, and you're like, okay, cool. But even then, like, you see how like just how like the girl survives, how, you know, she's again smarter than the other dudes, and how, you know, like, she's got that awesome dog, you know. And then there's even a part where like she starts training, so she's really great with the axe, and she's just like, she throws it, runs, catches it, throws it somewhere else, runs, throws it, catch, you know, just like a lot of that. Then at one point she's just like, you know, she like starts peeling off like the branches and stuff, and creates rope and ties it, and then does like, you know, throws, pulls the rope, catches it, you know, just so she doesn't have to move. And it's like, that scene was great, because I love how the dog was just like, you know, so that was awesome. And then once, oh my god, when she finally saw the predator dealie, the gross thing, you know, she's like, what the fuck is that? And then she fucking, like, she dives in the water, goes into like a beaver dam and all that stuff, and you just, and then it was also because like the bear was coming after her, and then the thing was coming after, you know, the predator thing was coming after her as well. And then all of a sudden, like, you see this in the trailer where you see like a bear is being like lifted, you know, because bears are so easily lifted, you know, they're all so light, you know, and not big old fluffy things. And then it was just like lifting up, and it was like blah, 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 all the blood, because it's like, and it's just like, it's still invisible, and then it drips on, it's like invisible, but like the blood is all over it. And like, she's just like, what the fuck? And she's like, I'm out. Dives into the water, she's like, I'm out, I don't know what that is. You know, she goes back to her people, and she's like, yo, I saw that thing, I saw a thing that we've been trying to figure out what it was. They're like, yeah, it's a bear. She's like, yeah, I saw a bear, but it killed the bear. And they're like, oh, okay, whatever. Woman, no, I'm kidding. You know, just like, you know. And then slowly but surely in the movie, yeah, like a lot of the dudes end up dead, because, you know, he's got this predator technology. Oh, with the three dots, the I remember when I saw the trailer, because someone, when I had that job for 2 quick months, they were like, hey, have you seen the trailer for this? I was like, what? I'm like, it's called Prey. I'm like, okay. And I was like, oh god, what is this, like 10,000 BC? And then I saw like the three dots, and I was like, yo, it's another Predator movie. I had no idea. She was like, huh? And I was like, yeah. She's like, I've never seen any of the Predator movies. I was like, just watch 1 and 2. That's it. Don't watch Alien vs. Predator, Alien vs. Predator Requiem. Don't watch the other ones. Just watch 1 and 2, because you definitely need, you know, your Danny Glover kind of shit. Yeah. And so, yeah, you saw the three dot, and then they're like, ah, and people limbs start shooting, all that stuff. Suddenly, at one point, you start hearing French. You're like, ah, goddamn, Quebecois, you know. It's probably somewhere in, what, like Canada, so it's like the French, and they're like, ah, haha, bagels. Not bagels, croissants. Bagels, that's New York. Anyway, and, you know, she knows a little bit of English, and whatever not, and, you know, they captured her, and then she's just like, yeah, fucked, and they're like, no, we're men and French and stuff. And then they die. Oh my god, seeing them get their limbs split off, and then like, man, like, I'm not doing it justice. It's one of those movies where, like, obviously watching it is better than talking about it, because there's not a lot of like talking about it, because it's like, this happens and this doesn't happen, and, you know, the dog survives, you know. But it was just great, like the final battle part. You know, of course, you get to see them. You know, the heat sense that the Predator dudes have. It was just great. It just, I'm just happy there's just a good Predator movie after all those other ones. Again, love the first Predator movie with Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers and all that stuff. I love the second one just because it's like, it's Predator, but like in urban area. Like, sure, that's fine. Alien versus Predator. And then Alien vs. Predator Requiem, I was like, you know, and then when they try to like reboot the thing with the Adrian Brody one. It's like, and then they did, yes, and then they did, sorry about allergies, and then they did that other one that had, like, Trevante Rhodes in it. It's just people, and I don't know, it was just like, I feel like those two movies was like, kind of like Saw and Final Destination, where you're just like, I just want to see how these people die. Like, you just really didn't care about the characters, you know? Whereas this one, like, you cared about her because the movie, like, showed it where you're with her for so much of the movie that you know, you like, okay, I don't want her to die. And she doesn't. So it's great. I don't know what else to say. It's a short review. I really liked this Predator movie, or Prey, but yeah, we've been needing something good. I mean, I know I've been complaining about a lot of, like, stop with the franchises and stop with, like, the legacy films and all that stuff, but if it's done right, then I'm fine, you know? Because most of it isn't, so stop it. But anyway, I'm done.